But still, the landscape was beautiful, and its muted shades matched Charlie's uneasy mood. By the time he reached the compound, the sun had ducked back into its shelter of clouds. The sky was the color of dull pewter, and a cold north wind was snapping the Alabama flag that flew over the gate. He was stopped by a swarthy, broad-shouldered guard who curtly ordered him out of the car, frisked him, and sneered at his press card. The guard made a telephone call, then directed him to the administration building with a jerk of his head and a warning. "Second building on the right, 50 yards down the road, but don't park in the warden's space or you will get your butt nailed." The guard gave him a hard look. "And don't go no further without an escort. You got that?" "Sir, yes, sir," Charlie said with barely suppressed sarcasm, and shifted into gear. The administrative offices were in a single-story wood-frame building on the north side of a neatly mowed quadrangle. It was painted forest green with brown trim. Other frame buildings, the prisoners' and guards' barracks, the mess hall and kitchen, a recreation building, and a hospital were painted the same colors and arranged around the east and west sides of the quad. On the south were sheds for shops, equipment repair, and vehicle maintenance, as well as the power plant and a small furniture factory. In the dull light, the place looked exactly like what it was, a prison. Charlie parked on the gravel apron in front of the administration building, noting that the warden's spot was empty. He got out of his Pontiac, pulling his overcoat closer around him against the whipping wind and jamming his felt fedora on his head so it wouldn't blow off. The front door opened into a small, chilly lobby that intersected with a hall running the length of the building, painted a poisonous green. Charlie walked past a Negro prisoner on his hands and knees, scrubbing the floor with a brush and a bucket of soapy water that smelled strongly of lye. Another, on a ladder, was slapping more green paint on the already painted wall. Both returned Charlie's greeting with sullen stares. The door to the warden's outer office was closed. Charlie opened it tentatively. At a desk sat a slight, thin-shouldered young man with gingery hair and round, wire-rimmed glasses, typing rapidly. The name tag on his khaki uniform shirt pocket identified him as Corporal Casey, and Charlie remembered that the guards held quasi-military rank. The young man looked up when Charlie came in. "Mr. Dickens?" he asked with an eager smile. "That's me." Charlie returned the smile, wondering where he had seen Corporal Casey, who seemed hardly more than a boy, really, before. Without being asked, he lowered himself into the chair in front of the desk and pushed his hat to the back of his head. "Dickens, from the Dispatch." "The warden had to go out to the barns to deal with a problem with one of the tractors," the corporal said. "He just left, and I'm not sure when he'll be back. I hope you don't mind waiting." He pushed his chair back. "Can I get you some coffee?" "Coffee would be swell," Charlie said, thinking that the boy looked glad to have some company. He probably felt as out of place as he looked. "Black and hot." "Hot and black," Casey smiled. "Coming right up, Mr. Dickens." He was back in a moment with 2 mugs. Charlie unbuttoned his coat, grateful for the heat, such as it was, coming from the small oil heater in one corner of the room. As he leaned back in his chair, chilly hands wrapped around his coffee mug, it came to him. "Say, I think I recognize you. Aren't you Hamp Casey's boy, Wilbur?" Hamp Casey owned a gravel pit near Darling and had just finished a term as county road commissioner. He farmed part of the old Delaney plantation, and he swung a lot of weight in Cypress County, which might be why his nephew had this job. "Hamp is my uncle," Wilbur said, his freckled face brightening. "I'm Melton's son. Maybe you knew my dad." "I did," Charlie said, adding, "Sorry about the accident." Melton Casey had died the previous 4th of July when, emboldened by Bodine Pyle's tiger spit, he thought he could beat an Earlynne locomotive across the tracks. "Your dad was a fine man, straight as an arrow. Well, apart from the occasional bender." He sure